Thank you so much for your patience, everyone. It's finally here. The top 5 AC teams in Super League, according to the chroniclers across the kingdom, is here. But first, let's review our top 16 so far. In 16th, we had GCM. In 15th, we had HOH. In 14th, TBE. In 13th, Ash. In 12th, NW1. In 11th, N3O. In 10th, MAD. In 9th, KAC. In 8th, FDH. In 7th, RUI. In 6th, BDR. And now, in 5th place, we have CKU? Alright, I know. CKU is not quite as strong as they were when the rankings were done. At the time, it looked a lot like they were kind of taking a lot of the old BCL members. It seemed like they were just going to kind of replace BCL. So I think that you can kind of think of this top 5 ranking as the almost, if BCL was still here and in their kind of intact as the alliance that we know them to be, this is where people expected that they would land. As you can see from their members, they are not really resembling that BCL alliance anymore, and as such, I decided to make a call. Our new top 5 is going to be CFO, the Hong Men. And the reasoning for putting CFO here is that they have been growing in power since BCL, or since really CKU was losing it. Now, it was not the same members. This was actually a merged alliance between two, pretty strong alliances before that kind of came together to form this. You'll see a lot of familiar names in this list, and I think that they are a little bit more appropriate to be placing here at 5th. We'll see if they actually perform at that level, but for now, we're going to leave CFO as our top 5 choice at number 5. Well, let's try to get back on track now. At number 4, we have MHL. MHL is a very well-known alliance at this point. They were, of course, in A-League last year, where they unfortunately did not win the entire season. They lost in the last round. It was the only round that they lost. They were very, very dominant. They're a very powerful alliance. They're, of course, led by Terax. And as you're about to see when we get into their top members, they've actually been doing some recruiting lately and added CCPC, Maromia, and a number of others that make them a very formidable alliance. Their previous whale, Darius, was the top guy, so I am intrigued to see how CC and Darius are going to kind of balance that out now, kind of that war for who is the top dog, but I am very, very confident that they're going to be a formidable opponent. They just have so many whales. I'm going to go ahead and go beyond just the top 10 here, so you can see how many strong accounts this alliance has. Even getting into some of their top 20 members, you're still seeing familiar names and powerful accounts. With this number of maxed and really strong accounts, you better believe they are willing to solo you down if you're not careful. This makes them a great choice for number 4 in our rankings. After 4 comes number 3, and number 3 will be IKW. IKW has become very, very well known for being kind of the first massive merger of 2 mega alliances. And when they did this, they just immediately jumped to the top of the rankings in pretty much every metric. They are right now at 81 billion power, which is just almost unheard of before they had come and done this. They are extremely strong. The one thing that they lack is that they have this history of just not being super coordinated in these events. They seem like last season they really got it together and seemed like they'd been able to pull it off, but that is going to be the ongoing concern whenever someone's talking about just how far IKW can go, is how well coordinated they can really be. That being said, they have just so many insanely strong accounts. I'm trying to include all of them here, but I mean, they just have so many, and all of these accounts are just more than willing to solo you out. If these guys are not facing another top alliance, they will just easily solo you down, and you just don't have to be that coordinated to solo people out. I'm intrigued to see how this all works with some of the new changes that have been made to AC. Maybe it's going to make soloing a little bit harder or a little bit more costly, but in some ways it also makes soloing that much more powerful. So time will certainly tell, but without a doubt, IKW is going to be one of those top alliances, and they belong here at number 3. We're getting down to it now, folks. Number 2 is none other than CTP. Now, CTP recently lost a couple of their members in the form of CC as well as Maromia and others, but this does not change the fact that this alliance was absolutely dominant when it came to the Siege of Winterfell event, and a lot of people think that's going to translate nicely to AC and just shows you how strong they can be. This is an alliance where their power can be a little deceptive. Some of their members, such as their leader Napoleon or now Elche, have kind of pushed down their power, and this may seem like they're not as strong of an account. That is a fool's errand if you think so. This account is just as strong, if not stronger, and they have a number of accounts that have kind of lowered their power to make it easier for them to move kingdoms, but they are still just as strong as they were before. The other thing I want to note about this alliance, and of course they have many, many strong, absolutely insane accounts, but they're always very, very well coordinated. They're very smart. They reinforce extremely well. If you go back to thinking about when they were divided into WTP and CTL, those were two alliances that really fundamentally understood how AC worked, and they both made very deep runs into the UC season. I think that both of these alliances, when you put them together, are just likely to mesh well. They understand it well, and I think that they're going to put together a really strong performance. I'm not going to go quite as deep into them just because they don't have as many accounts that the power seems strong, but don't get it wrong. This is number 2 for a reason. But no list would be complete without a number 1, and ours is Run. Run is, of course, led by Savo, or Lord Savo. They are currently at 83 billion power at the time I'm making this. I think they're number 1 for a reason. They won it last season. They are just as strong, if not stronger, than they were last season. You know you can always expect them to do a little bit of extra recruiting right at the end before UC because people want to play with the best. Savo is a maxed account, but it's not the only one they have. When you start to look at the list of who else they have, you see, wow, they have a lot of just truly maxed, insanely strong accounts. A while back, they kind of pulled a lot of members from N3O, and it wasn't a true merger, but they kind of just plucked off the top of some of those accounts, and that's kind of what made them into the force that they were last season. I fully expect that RUN is going to be just as strong as they were last season, again, if not stronger. I had to face them myself in Siege of Winterfell twice last season, and it was not a pleasant experience. The thing about Run that you need to understand is that, yeah, they have these couple of top guys that are well known, but the average middle tier player in Run would be a rally lead and be one of the strongest rally leads in most other alliances. They are just so deep. They have so many accounts that will solo you to death. They have so many maxed accounts. This alliance is number 1 for a very good reason. I doubt anyone is going to be able to beat them, but I can tell you that any match involving these top 3 is going to be fun to watch. But hey, that's it, folks. That is going to conclude my top 16 rankings. I hope you enjoyed them. Again, this wasn't just me. This involved a lot of chroniclers from across the kingdom. So thanks to everyone who contributed. I'll see you next time.